Are we on the air?
Talk a little bit about, of course, I feel like it's a transition, but, as a, musician, it's easy for you to kind of switch lanes and switch genres because you're a producer and an engineer as well, so you got an ear for music. But what prompted you to, after, years of rapping, you just got through doing a freestyle, on Bars and None a little while ago, and then, a couple of days later,
Yeah.
Boo Walk dropped. So, talk about, the inspiration behind you doing that.
Well, as far as the Southern Soul and the trail ride market, I really been, tampering with it for the last couple of years. Shout out to my boy Lil Jones. We teamed up a couple of times, tried to team up a couple of times and make a couple of Southern Soul records. When he first came at me about doing it, I was so much a rapper. I was like, nah, Jones, you know what I'm saying? I don't see myself doing it. I can produce it. I produce for T-Baby, you know what I'm saying, J1. I done produced for a lot of them, but as far as me doing it, I didn't feel it, you know what I'm saying? At the time, I didn't feel it. And me, musically, if I'm not feeling it, I can't portray it, you know what I'm saying? I know a lot of people probably can do stuff that, records that's not them, but I can't do it, you know what I'm saying? So, the first time we did a Southern Soul show, I did good, but I still wasn't there. I didn't feel it. So I did it then. That was like a few years ago. I did it then. And then we came back last year and we did a couple of Southern Soul records, and one of them was doing pretty good. But the unit wasn't working. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The partnership wasn't working. So I, did it again. So with Boot Walk, I just been, just kind of touring around with different tracks. And then when I was in the studio, really at my house, and I was making a track, I started thinking about these boots I made for Walk. I think I thought about it when I was in the shower. Shout out, what's her name? Nancy Sinatra. So I'm in the shower and I started singing that song. I was like, man, I'm gonna make a track out there. So I got out the shower, got dressed and went downstairs in my engineering room, and I just started making the track. And I knew it. Like when I made the track, I was like, oh yeah, this is it, you know what I'm saying? And so I immediately started making the verses and the hook, and it just came together. And to me, when it's genuine like that, I already know it's gonna do something.
So, what's the difference in, the construction of Southern Soul song versus what you had done in hip hop records in the past?
Well, if you listen to Boot Walk, it's really still got that hip hop vibe to it. So what I wanted to, and that's what I think made it hard for me at first trying to do Southern Soul, because I was trying to fit what they were doing. You know what I'm saying? So that's what made it hard for me. I'm like, I wasn't feeling it. So as long as I can put me into it, I felt more comfortable. And I think I started seeing Yayo, people that we came up in. I started seeing Yayo and Lil DJ, 55 Boy. I had made a couple of records for him. And I'm like, okay, he over there gigging, and he doing Southern Soul Trail Ride show, and he doing Buddha music. And so I'm like, and I'm hearing more and more rap kind of tunes. So I'm like, I'm going to join the two, you know what I'm saying? And when I did that, it was genuine. It came out.
Cool.
So I was looking at the video you had Famous in one of your promotional videos for the
Famous?
song.
Yeah, shout out Famous.
Famous.
Get a walk. Man, I couldn't get what's his name? iPod, man. I wanted an iPod to come and do the and he didn't show up.
So with that, it was a hashtag line dance.
Boot Walk line dance.
Boot Walk line dance.
Yeah.
Y'all look that up. Hashtag Boot Walk line dance. What are some of the dances that's in there? Because I think I saw some Mohead swag in there.
But when I did the video, I really wasn't thinking about a line dance. When I did the video, the guy that's dancing, the two guys that's dancing in the video, they work with me at my shop. So I knew they knew how to Mohead. Every time we go out, they Mohead. And so I'm like, when I do this video, I want y'all to do that in my video. So that's what I originally was like. I just want people to Mohead to it because it got that vibe.
Yeah.
But with Southern Soul and Trail Ride, the line dances is that's life. Yeah, they got line dances for everything. You know what I'm saying? So immediately we was like, we need need to make a line dance to this.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to make it go. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, yeah, when I got in touch with Famous, really, he a Mohead swagger too. Like, the stuff he doing is Mohead. So,
Because it ain't dead.
it ain't dead. And it's all over the place now. Like, Mohead been out forever, you know what I'm saying? But I guess with this new TikTok and, you know, the new era that's going on, Mohead and Famous Amos, he done blew it up, but he really not the person that made up Mohead swagging. Like, yeah, it's been going on forever. So, I knew I wanted to reach out to Famous Amos. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
You mentioned that you made gospel music, all different types of genres. So have you ever thought of maybe mixing the two, sort of like R&B and gospel, or
What's his name? Ray Charles.
I mean,
Kirk Franklin.
Kirk Franklin, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like how Nicki Minaj, you know, samples on.
I've done it. I've sampled gospel for some records for some other people, and it came out good. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not against like joining whatever genres. I'm not against it. If I feel it, I'ma do it. You know what I'm saying? So you know, I will do it. So if you got some ideas, you know, let's go.
Okay.
Tax him. You got money.
No, I don't.
Tax him.
Now, of course, with the trail rides, I mean, for me personally, I've never been to one. I would love to know what the experience is like when you're going to a trail. I see it all the time, whatever. But what is the vibe like out there?
Man, it's crazy. I don't know if you ever. How old are you?
Like
Okay, well you probably
Yeah,
never
I'm
been
not-
to like
not even-
freak niggas and like that, but
No,
like trail ride is almost like a big outside barbecue party. Like they got the 4-wheelers, they got the horses, they got music, DJs, a lot of beer, drinking, and just people having good time. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of line dances. You know what I'm saying? And that's what kind of drew me to it, because I'm like, I'm used to going to the clubs and performing, you know what I'm saying? And true, when I saw that, I'm like, they having a good time and ain't nobody getting killed, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody shooting. Now, lately, the younger people have been migrating over to it. So it's starting to be a little more, you know what I'm saying? Every now and then you'll hear a little about some drama. So, like you just said not too long ago, you gotta know when to go, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So we got Aziatikk Blakk in the building, and you know, you kind of you heard, you know, drama's origins. Your origins go back, you know, even farther than that. For people who, you know, are not, you know, familiar with you and know about your history in the city, just talk about, you know, how you got started in this game, man, and you know how you played into this Mississippi hip hop scene.
I started in 1979. It was around the time that they had the Easter flood. 79, summer of 79. I started tearing up my father's equipment, you know, getting into a little, you know, little ruckus around the house, getting my behind tore up. But I kept going, and I was seeing it on different shows on TV. So I started the little scratch thing with the, you know, back then it was the ceramic turntable. It was, you know, had the big old spindle in the middle of it. And messing around, and I guess I did that for a few years, you know, solo, just at the house, you know, around the house. I torn it, took it out of the hi-fi stereo and took it and put it on top of a milk crate, wired some stuff up and had it hooked up to a speaker, and got me a little realistic mixer. And group of friends that started coming over to the house, and we started doing what we saw on TV, you know, and it went from there. You know, graduated to going to school and getting around a few friends that was mixing with it, and about that time I really didn't want to DJ. I started breakdancing and rapping, and I wasn't too good of a rapper, you know. I was a basic rapper. But I fell back into DJing in a group called Total Control, which was started off being Darren Green, which is Jet G now, and also Terrence Shanks, all from out in North Jackson. And I met you at Chastain,
That's right.
And I was doing a little bit of it then. Some of the, you know, junior high school dances and that sort of thing was in band. And just bumping around the streets of Jacktown, man, thugging it and doing certain things that we weren't supposed to be doing, staying out late and further getting into the hip hop scene.
Yeah. So
And
go ahead.
this summer, I think of '83 came along and rap really started bubbling. And I started Run DMC, the UTFOs, and all of these good New York hip hop artists that we call the icons of the era today. And our group was formed a little bit thicker over at Powell Middle School. I laid out a whole year at Chastain and ended up repeating math and went over to Pywell and did the same thing. So as this group started to form, we ended up in Valley North one day at Darren Green's house, and his mother had bought him a whole bunch of equipment from, I think it was Rex. Was it Rex? Electronics right there on the corner of State Street.
Yeah.
It was Rex back then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, it was. I know it had two names at one particular time, but anyway, we skipped school that day and was in the yard when the school bus came, and we turned it up. We turned it up, man. The whole Valley North got off right there in front of Darren Green's house, man. And we lit the streets up, and that put a buzz on my behind that lasted to the day.
Yeah. So talk about, you know, how you seen the scene transform. You know, we're gonna work our way up because you were just recently honored. You know, again, as one of the icons, one of the DJ icons of the city at the old school hip hop, party with purpose at the Trademark. You know, describe in your thoughts how you have seen the scene transform from when you started, and you've seen the progression of the music and the artists. You know, from what you remember it to be to what it is now. You know what I'm saying? How have you seen that transition happen? And you know, has it been good in your eyes?
It's been a little bit of both. For Mississippi, it had been so great. There are some things, there are some likes and dislikes I like about it. Just being truthful with it, in Mississippi, I've seen a whole lot of, what do I want to call it? I'm tired of using the word hate. I think that the thing about Mississippi of people are being just scared of progress.
Yeah.
That's what I think it is. I think we've been held back for so long that it's almost in our minds impossible to make it. And when it seems like you're about to make it, it's so overwhelming until you just stop. You freeze. And then if you see somebody else making it, you hate. So that's what I think our problem is. Now, as far as out of town rappers, I mean, all over the world, in my lane, it has been great. It has been almost Hollywood, because at one point in time, where actually for several years, all artists, producers, record labels, execs, and all of that type of stuff checked in with Aziatikk when they came to the SIP.
No doubt.
And that was, that made me a Mississippi icon, because at that time, you know, there were DJs.
Yes.
There wasn't people just putting a suit on, you know, coming to the club with, you know, the newest of equipment and that sort of thing.
Pushing buttons.
Pushing buttons. Yeah, it was raw skills, man. It was DJing. And then I had I don't even know where it came from. To this day, I'm trying to figure out. I guess I was just born with it, helping my people with the music. I don't know how that came about. I guess, you know, me being in the beginning, that's what we did. And that's the only thing we had in the hood, was our own music. And we created the music. I took the music to the clubs. And then when I was in radio, I took the music to the radio stations. And I had a gift of being able to mix well enough to transition it to records and break records. And then I started seeing how if you were at the club, Now, I'm gonna explain it to you like this. I don't know if there's any DJs listening right now, but if you are, you can use this. When you are mentally taken over by something that's not directed at you per se, it's almost being like in a subconscious state. So I saw how the last thing that people heard leaving the club was almost the first thing I needed to play when it came back. Because I don't know if you notice when you at home, you sleeping, and you hear something in the background, you just hearing it. You're not really paying attention to it, but you hear it. And then when you hear it again, it's almost subconsciously you know the words to it or you know the beat. So I grabbed that gift and I saw how it affected people, and I used that to break records. And that's what's happening around Mississippi. Well, I'm gonna say that's what's happening around certain areas of Mississippi today. Now, as far as Jacktown, it's not being done. So that part is kind of almost it's heartbreaking, man, because there's so much talent out here, and the talent is being wasted. And on the flip side of that, there's so many people that wants that fame or want to be in that lane until they just thugging. They're doing almost anything. They're going into the studio, they're making the music, but then they come out and you know what's happening out here in these streets. Yeah. So that part right there is not good. It's not good at all.
Go ahead.
Can I ask Blakk a question since
Sure.
he spoke about the
Since
other?
you want to be the host, you can ask a question.
I
Go
want to be the host.
Go ahead.
You know, he's speaking my language,
Go
man.
ahead.
But he just spoke on the surrounding areas of Mississippi, and then the separation from that to Jackson. Like I've even spoke about that before, and I want to know from your perspective. To me, because we see a lot of artists make it from a lot of these smaller towns in Mississippi. That we in Jackson be like, who is that? We never heard of them, and we feel like if we haven't heard of it in Jackson, you know what I'm saying, where they come from. But to me, I feel like even like with Crit, and there's a lot of other artists that made it from smaller towns. I feel like, and I don't know, maybe it's just what I'm feeling, and it might not be the truth, but I feel like it's almost easier for a small town to have a hometown hero. You know what I'm saying?
I think it has something to do with the raising. I think that comes from the inner inside the home.
Yeah.
It's almost like country guys are not afraid to get out and work.
Yeah, like they
You know
go
what
to
I'm
the
saying?
oil
They
rigs.
have a work ethic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in the city we've been kind of spoiled and coddled.
Do you think Jackson is too like wide open? Like we got North Jackson, we got South Jackson, we got West Jackson.
To me, that's a bunch of foolishness.
Okay.
To claim a hood that you don't own any property in the city.
Yeah.
That's a bunch of foolishness to me. How can you separate a household?
Yeah. But
Purposely.
you will have a rap on the north side that might be, bubbling. Then you got Battlefield Pierre and them and stuff like that over by Battlefield. Then you got somebody else from the west side. You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like when Kamikaze did, when all y'all did Map Coalition. You know what I'm saying? So we had people coming to Map Coalition from everywhere.
Right.
Like when I made that CD for Map Coalition, it was artists on there from everywhere. You know what I'm saying? But like you said, it has to be something that's keeping us from progressing as Mississippi as a whole. Like it's artists that seep through the concrete, but as a whole, like Texas flooded. As a whole, Memphis flooded.
We'll be talking about it next Wednesday. We just really got into it. We'll be
Right.
talking about it.
So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a quick break, and we come back. We'll get back into this discussion. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna take it back. We're gonna talk about breaking records in the Birdland. Also, and then we're gonna talk about this new trail ride culture. We're gonna talk about all of that, man. We're gonna take a quick break. It's Third Coast Radio, man. Y'all stick with it. Getting the content, man. So before we went to break, we were talking about this age-old conversation that is taking place about Mississippi music. So Third Coast Radio is the only radio show that plays independent music that you can hear in the entire state of Mississippi. So we go to all 82 counties. So everybody all over the entire state right now is listening to this conversation. So you got artists and you got producers, and you got people that do rock music and gospel music and R&B music and hip hop music that are listening to us right now all over the state of Mississippi, and we having this conversation. So Blakk, you were, kind of, at least sprinkling a little bit of, your wisdom on, what you think has been going on and what you think the problem is.
Yeah, I mean, like I stated before we took the break, man, we'll be talking about it, man, probably a whole week. But basically, man, that dark cloud that we have placed upon ourselves, man, really just, I guess there's no other word to use but hate. Self-hate. I'm gonna just put it like that, it's self-hate. We gotta figure out a way to get away from under it, man. And another thing about it, I think, is sort of a biblical standpoint per se, being disobedient to the Most High, and a lot of people got their own theories on that, but hey, it is what it is, man. We got to, and I thought it was gone, but this last you and I saw a little bit of it together a couple of weeks ago. I thought that thing had kind of disappeared, man, but it's still over. As a matter of fact, I want to ask your input on that. What
You're talking about me?
Yeah.
I mean, anytime that you are in a state like Mississippi with, all the historical context that's in place, you're going to always have people with an inferiority complex, and you're going to always have people, with an attitude, again, that, I won't say they're going to have an attitude of it's going to be harder for me to make it because I'm from Mississippi. Mm-hmm. Mississippi is an albatross on my shoulders. Mississippi is the reason why I can't make it. And when you deal with that kind of attitude, anytime they see somebody, and we've seen this happen, whether it happened with Nipsey or whether it happened with any of the other rappers that we've seen in the situations that they've been in, when you are from a particular place and people who live around you and grew up around you and went to school with you, who have the same amount of time, the same hours in the day, and the same opportunities that you have, when they see you make it and they don't, it's going to always build animosity. That's just something that's going to happen. You have to know how to move, and you got to know how to operate, and you got to know how to build the correct relationships to be able to do that. We've all saw it, and even, with the cool kids, even in the newer generation, those things happen. Anytime somebody has motion, it's going to always be somebody that has a problem with it. I think our problem here classically is not being talent. Talent has never been the issue. We have people that have been dope, and I believe we have people that, pound for pound are doper than any set of artists that I've seen. And I've traveled the entire world, and I say this all the time. And we have probably one of the most talented generations of artists that exist right now. It comes down to work ethic at the end of the day, because now there's absolutely, people used to be able to say, and they used to say it all the time, it's because of Aziatikk Blakk, he won't play my record in the Birdland, or, it's Kamikaze's fault, or it's drummer's fault, or it's DJ Java's fault because he won't play my record. There was always somebody to point to as the reason why you didn't make it. Well, we exist in a time now where you have the opportunity to go directly to the consumer without anybody in between. There is no excuse. There is no gatekeepers anymore. There is no person that's stopping you from making it. The only person that's stopping you is you and your work ethic and your ability to be able to create content. So the excuses are now gone. So that makes it even harder for people to even, come up with the excuses that they come up with. So we're going to get to a point now where, you're not going to be able to say, this particular person is doing something, that particular person is doing something. It's different because coming up in our generation, there was only a couple of ways that you could do it. You know what I'm saying? Now it's much different. So, the animosity now that exists with the younger artists is different than it was with us.
Yeah.
Because ours was just from lack of resources and not having the resources, and we were all fighting for the same resources. So when you're fighting for the same resources, it's a different thing. But now these cats have the resources now. So now it's more ego than anything else. But I think the event the other night was good, for forming content for people to be able to see, artists from, different generations and who helped to build the scene. I think it's always important for you to be able to give some historical context so people can know,
Right.
you know,
Right.
where things came from at the end of the day. And, you know, that's just something that we're going to have to just, you know, something we have to just deal with and kind of just brush off and get to that point. But I want to talk about that because you always caught a lot of flack because, you know, you were probably one of the street A&Rs that was out here. Talk about how important it was to get your record played in the Birdland. And for those people who, you know, did not experience the Birdland or understand the Birdland, you know, people that have been in Johnny T's.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And not understanding that used to be the Birdland and the things that went on inside that building. We'll talk about the
can't
bird.
talk about
Yeah, we
that.
can talk about
Went on in the Birdland.
So talk about how important it was for you as a DJ, how important it was for you to break records in the Birdland. Why was that important? And, you know, why was it so important? You became one of the most important people in the city because if Aziatikk Blakk played your record at a certain time in the Birdland, you had a hot record. That meant literally that you had a hot record in the city. How did all of that come about? How did all that start? How did you get in the Birdland? And how did Sunday night in the Birdland, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. become a thing?
Actually, I don't know. I just I had a knack of taking care of my people, and it turned into a small business for a while. But before that, it was the passion to take care of my people, and I saw that because there were key players in the city, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and give them their shouts out. I had key players like Batman and Rockefeller and you know the whole Wood Street gang and the Renegades. You know they had the separation with the gangs and that sort of thing that was going on. So I saw where if you had certain people that were doing music, you know, back then they had businesses. You know, it was a business thing. They had we had local record labels that were actually having, you know, artists signed to them. And I saw how certain individuals had control of their respective parts of the city. So as long as I kept this particular group, you know, that handled the vice lords, and this particular group that handled the folks and the Black Pea Stones, you know, I had people all over the city, man, that I dealt with, to keep them under one roof. If I could take care of them, then I could take care of the city.
Yeah.
So that became the importance of having those, and then I let them choose who they wanted to, you know, within their group, who they wanted to put out and who they wanted to break. You know, I had, you know, Sunset, and man, it was folks all over the city, you know. But that's what I used to make it, you know, very important to have your song played in the Birdland, and then it turned into a business. So I had the record pool going, and then we created the MAP Coalition, and it just, man, it just spread all over the state, and really all over the southeastern region. Yeah.
So I want to caveat off both of y'all, Kaz and DJ Aziatikk Blakk. My little brother was at the show that honored you. He was a part of the skate crew, and he called me. He called me, I want to say it was yesterday. He called me, and he was giddy. He was like, I didn't know that so much music came out of Mississippi. And I was like, I'm really glad. He's 21. So I was really glad he was able to experience that. So that is a caveat, and a thank you to you two for laying down such a good foundation. And
That's dope.
my little brother got really excited about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other thing was something that you said about DJing and, you know, going in with a playlist, pressing a button. I saw that you did an interview back in New Orleans,
Yeah.
Vinyl Shop.
Right.
And so how important is that for younger DJs to be able to go and dig for vinyls and learn how to properly do it with the vinyls first before you get to the upper stages in the
That's a good
electronics?
question.
In my personal opinion, it can't be done without doing that, and let me tell you why. It's the energy you get from it. You lose very important energy when you're just pushing buttons. I mean, you got people that's calling themselves, and it's no disrespect to them, man, but you got people that's calling themselves DJs that just stand, you know, they drinking, they smoking hookah, you know, they smoking weed, you know, they having conversation, they on the phone, you know, they texting, they on Instagram, they on TikTok, they doing all of this. It's no way possible you can concentrate on breaking music if you're doing all of this type of stuff. It just can't be done. You know, the mind does not work like that. To be able to look around the club and look at, you know, this chick over in this corner, you know, this guy over in this corner, and to really study these people and see what's on there, see the trouble that's on their faces, and know what to play next in order to, you know, to capture them. That's a job.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's something. Everybody can't do it. You know, and the so-called DJs that they have now, you know, shouts out to all of them, because, you know, they put a lot of money into the equipment, you know, a lot of time into it, so-called effort, but bruh, it's something that you can't imagine. So to have, you know, to spend all day putting your records in order where you can reach in your crate and get them without looking, you know, to know the BPMs, you know, to know what song octaves gonna go with other songs, you know, it's countless numbers of things you can use, man, with that art form.
I wanted to ask you a question with the BPM and stuff like that. Like, I think I've heard DJs, a lot of DJs nowadays, they request certain BPMs from the artists when they giving them their records, so that they can play it, so it will fit their playlist, instead of saying, okay, you back in the day, you might know how to mix R&B song with a rap song, you know what I'm saying? But now it's almost like, I need 93 BPM, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, once again, it's cheating. It's a cheat code that they use.
And a lot of the songs sound just alike.
It's a cheat code. Like I said, that's why I call them so-called DJs. To have that in your DNA, to have that in your you know, your format, is something that you, to me, you got to be almost born with it. Because it's just, you know, it's just like being a rapper. Everybody can, you know, you can rhyme, you can put some stuff together, but, you know, to capture people with it is something else. To know what to talk about, you know, how to talk about it. Are you playing Gallagher?
Oh, man.
Man's playing Gallagher. That man's playing Gallagher.
It came up from
Playing Gallagher in here, ladies and gentlemen.
That's rich people right now.
Yeah, playing Gallagher.
That was crazy.
Yeah, but yeah, that is something, man, that you got to be born with, man. And you know, I'm gonna just be honest, man. It's crazy how, you know, you go into the clubs now, man, and it's 5 DJs. You know, from where I come from, man, you start at 7 o'clock in the evening. You don't leave till about 5 o'clock in the morning. It's one DJ, and if you had somebody under you that could, you know, hold it down until you went to the bathroom or whatever the case may be, if you got that chance. And another thing that I talk to a lot of DJs about too is you can't eat anything, you can't drink anything, you have to know your body, you have to know exactly what to do to get in that DJ booth and be stuck in there all night long. If you got a toothache, you got, you know, if your stomach is upset, you got, I mean, you just absolutely cannot go anywhere. So you got to be disciplined in order to get in that DJ booth and do what you do.
Yeah.
So being in the DJ game for so long and now being considered an icon in the city, what is it that you can do to better connect with the younger generation of DJs so that they can learn the extra ropes?
Being my age now, man, I'm 55 years old. This is why I reached out to Kamikaze, was because I think I'm gonna push it another 4 or 5 years and get reconnected with these new artists. I don't know if Kamikaze wants to start the MAP coalition, but
We spoke about that before.
but I'm gonna go at him. I'm not gonna take that no for an answer. You know, cause I am on the board of the MAP coalition, so he can't just tell me no and that's it. You know. But anyway, we're gonna talk about it. But some type of way I got to reach back out, man, and kind of smash the gas. I don't know if y'all heard, in the last few days it has been this killing has crumped back up, and it touched some people close to me. So, like I said, I built that back in the day to where, you know, I use key people, use my, you know, what I had to get them, you know, to draw them to me, and they use what they had to draw their people to them. Some type of way, this, you know, they're not listening to nothing else, but I see the music is what, you know, they connect to, and we got to get that back buzzing. So, you know, shout out to a lot of the older, you know, Mellow T. I'm gonna say Mellow T.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
He was one of the first ones to kind of peep this out with the artists. Donald Ray Quinn.
Donnie Money.
Yeah. So those are some of the guys that were back in the day that played a key factor in helping me get this music and these groups together. One more, Kevin Stokes.
Shouts out to Stokes.
Yeah, so these are some of the people that helped along the way with these clubs, getting that music to me. Rest in peace to DJ Hands. He was one of the, you know, DJs that ran with me. Razzle K was one of the guys that produced a lot
Rest in peace, Razzle K.
of music that people just don't know. So, and that was another reason that I reached out to Kamikaze too, is because this history has to be passed on. You know, we getting up in age, and you know, if we don't tell it, it's not gonna get taught. So it's not gonna be history; it's gonna be his story.
Right. That's right. That's right. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna take a quick break, and we're gonna come back, and so we can wrap up this conversation. But you know, drama. I'm sorry, Prep Cashmere.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Prep
To
Cashmere.
do that again.
I got too many.
We gonna.
You know, I just don't even call his name no more. I just say what up.
You do. When we come back though, real quick, I
I'm
want
so used to
to.
drama too.
Right. I want to talk about you know, the trail ride culture, but I want to talk about you as an artist. You know, evolving and pivoting and shifting. You know what I'm saying, and competing in this new day and age with the new artists and the things that they have going on, and the artists that you have coming into your studio that you engineer now, and how it's been trying to maintain, you know, your relevance in the scene. So we're gonna take a quick break. It's Third Coast Radio. We'll be right back. Back, this is Third Coast Radio. Man, Kamikaze the Kingmaker in the building with the cool kids. We got Dreon Santana, House of Mars.
Never lost.
We got Kayla Renee in the building, of course. If you missed tonight's conversation, you definitely need to make sure that you check us out on Monday. Of course, you know, mpbonline.org at noon. You'll be able to check out this interview, all of the great music on this particular show, man. If you are in the music business, or if you're a fan of music in the state of Mississippi, man, this is definitely a show that you should have been tuned into. And if not, and if you missed it, and if you're just turning your dial right now, checking us out on Third Coast Radio, of course, on Monday, you'll be able to check this out, so make sure that you do that. We've got DJ Aziatikk, Blakk, we've got Prep Cashmere in the building. So before we went to break, I said I wanted to talk about, you know, the trail ride culture, and you being an older artist and kind of going out there and seeing, you know, trail ride is not a new thing, but it's a new thing for a lot of people. So with you doing what you're doing now, you know, you jumped into the waters of you know, one of the new things is out here now. So talk about just as an artist, how has it been, you know, making that pivot, and you know, what you feel like you have been doing to stay relevant and not, you know, have people, you know, forget that you're around here doing your thing. What have you been doing in that regard?
I think that the main thing as far as being in music this long and still being relevant is not being afraid to recreate, you know, yourself. So that's one thing as far as me musically, with my background, you know, being around singers and being around rappers and all kind of stuff. Like, I'm not, like I said earlier, I love music, so I'm not scared to recreate myself. So shout out to the trail ride culture. I'm really tapping into their world because it has been around for a long time. I got a song coming out called City Boy, and it's basically saying y'all done took this city boy and made him country. And, you know, pretty much, you know, we country because we come from Mississippi, but I'm a city boy, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't like getting dirty. But but if you in that trail ride culture, you finna get dirty. I was talking to Yayo, Big Yayo, shout out Big Yayo. I was talking to him the other day, and he was like, you got a record, you got one, and trail and the culture, they gonna eat it up, but you gotta be calm.
You gotta get in there.
Yeah, you gotta
You
become
can't act
that.
like you just
Yeah,
use
you don't want, you can't be out there like, I don't want the dreads to get dirty. You know what I'm saying? These boots, when I first started buying me boots, man, and I'm like, you know, I wear them because I want to look good in them. They was like, man, your boots too clean. You know what I'm saying?
You spent $1 grand on a pair yet?
Nah, I ain't did that yet.
You gotta get one that costs $1 grand.
Yeah, you gotta get them muddy, man.
Yeah.
That's
I know
what I'm
you.
saying.
I know you don't like that.
They was
I
like
really
that they
actually,
too- they
you know
too
what I'm saying. When
clean.
you actually get your boots dirty, I want you to take a picture of that because you notoriously, I just really, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah, it's
proper
hard.
about
I'm gonna help him out with that.
My mama had 2 boys, and he know my brother. Like, my brother is the oily, you know, mechanic, get dirty. I was always
man,
dirty.
order, man.
And my brother gonna, hey,
He
he'll have on some. My brother be getting ready to go out to the club with his best clothes on.
Yeah,
He
he's
say,
on it.
you need your car fixed on, he gonna climb up under your engine.
And whatever you got on,
Yeah.
Right there.
Wow.
So he don't mind getting dirty. Me, on the other hand, I always been like pretty boy, you know, city boy. So for me to transition into this trail ride culture, that's why Yale was like, you know, you got your record.
you're gonna have to get on that 4-wheeler, man, and get down in that.
and
You
run
gonna
off
have to
in
go
that
run
mud
yeah.
and come up out of there
You
with
ready for that shit?
with nothing but
Get
my
stuck in the
eyeballs.
side by
You ready
side.
for that shit?
I want to do it. Yeah, I'm ready.
I mean, you're gonna have to.
Yeah,
That's the
I
only way. You gotta
haven't
be,
done it
that's,
yet.
you gotta be legitimate. That's
That's
the
like
only way you're
the
gonna
that's
be
like the
legit.
initiation.
It's an initiation.
And then
You
get out
gotta
and
do
you
it. You gotta immerse
don't look
yourself
right.
in that mud, man.
And speaking of that, I got a question for you. Okay, so my son and I did a trail ride in Crystal Springs a little while ago.
Yeah.
I want you to speak on the dangers of trail riding in the ATVs and UTVs that cause we was out there and they do the little ride offs, you know, and one had an accident and died on the scene. So I want you to kind of speak on.
Yeah, it's still every time I talk about 4-wheeling and ATV, it's all you always still have to respect that vehicle. The same way you have to do with a motorcycle. You know, you have to respect it. And I think we probably think since it still got 4 wheels, you know, you can do what you want to do with it. But when I ride them, I'm careful. Like, you know, I just really started getting into it. So I'm not to where I'm going to do tricks and all that kind of stuff yet.
Absolutely.
But you just have to respect them.
What about the proper training, just as you do, you know, you would as an artist or a producer?
I think that they should have proper training, just like motorcyclists should have proper training. But you also got people that's just gonna jump on it, and just like rapping.
Just like you got people that's just gonna jump in the booth.
Yeah, just like rapping, you got people that's just gonna jump on it. But
With the same reckless outcome.
Yeah.
Hey man, turn my headphones up, man.
Yeah, and they doing it like what you said, you know, earlier. You know, you saw it on TV, and back then, you know, it wasn't as like global and all over the place as it is now. So now these young people are seeing it on social media, and they thinking that's all I got to do. And to me, that's why I just asked you about the BPMs and stuff like that, because I've been a judge on a contest, you know, artist contest, and I've heard record execs and DJs tell them, "You got that sound. You got that sound. What they doing now." And to me, that's damaging, because it's like the artists feel like they got to do a certain type of thing to fit. And that's why I still, like, when I'm making my records now, when I'm making beats now, I don't like making beats and 2 beats sound just alike.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, if I start making a beat, I'm like, nah, this sound like
the last.
you know what I'm saying? I'm finna turn the keyboard off and recharge and regroup. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like with Boot Walk, that's kind of what's making it, you know what I'm saying, bubble, is the fact that it sounds new. You know what I'm saying? It's a new sound.
Yeah. So real quick, for anybody that wants to get in touch with you for production, they want to book you for a show, you know, give all the contacts and the social media contacts. And
I got to make sure my phone not
we're
playing Gallagher. You know what I'm saying?
gonna have Blakk do the same thing.
Okay. Well,
You gotta look up your social.
no, I gotta look up my management office and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't call me no more. You know, as you go up the ladder, you can't, you know, directly call me. You know,
That's real fancy.
Yeah, exactly.
Just sprinkle a little fancy on.
So yeah,
Just sprinkle regular
know,
fans.
Well, that's real
you know,
fans.
with me being an engineer and a producer around here, I've dealt with a lot of people, and they might feel like I can just reach out to drummer myself or prep myself. I did it, man. You made me do that.
You did it to yourself.
So, social media wise, if you, you know, listening and you want to follow me, you need to follow me because I need these numbers. These days it's all about numbers. So on Instagram, you can follow me at Prep601, and there's also Prep Cashmere on Facebook and Prep Cashmere on TikTok. Let's see. I think that's it.
And that's
Instagram,
spelled
TikTok.
got-
with a C, not a
You
K.
gave him the booking email, the management email.
Oh, it's RAR Music Group, and that's Rhymes and Rhythms Music Group at gmail.com.
But it's not spelled out.
No, well, you have to, because when I did it the other way, it wasn't.
So you got to spell out the rhymes and
So
rhythms.
you got to do Rhymes and Rhythms.
You got to be specific now.
Yeah. So it's
Put the
Rhymes,
R and R.
Rhymes and Rhythms MG at gmail.com.
People don't spell like they used to.
They don't. Aziatikk Blakk, how can they get in touch with you, man? Get them all the contact.
AZIATIKKBLAKK. That's Aziatikk Blakk. No C's in my name, please.
Hey.
Once again, it's AZIATIKKBLAKK. And the reason I spelled it like that back then is the same as today. I spelled it differently so that nobody could match it. And it hasn't been matched till this day. So if you spell it correctly, you're going to pull up me. Nobody else.
Ladies and gentlemen, DJ Aziatikk Blakk, Prep Cashmere. I can't hear, man. Appreciate y'all for stopping through, man. We're going to take a quick break. We come back. We got some more third coast